kitchen. I was asked to put together a vegan recipe for you to follow along. I'm going to show you today one of my favorite recipes for tofu that is super easy. We're going to take that tofu and put it in a veggie stir fry today. I'm just doing a kitchen sink stir fry. I picked out veggies in my fridge that were looking like they were getting ready to go, and some rice. Okay, so when you get tofu, it comes in liquid. You have to drain that liquid out. So I am going to do that quickly. And then what you have is just this brick of soy. We have to press the tofu for at least 20 minutes. So the way I do that, I know this towel doesn't look very clean, I promise it is. Get a clean towel from your kitchen, and then I am going to cut these into 8 pieces. And then lay them in a rectangle on my towel. The reason you have to press the tofu is because you have to get the liquid out so that it absorbs the flavor you're gonna put it in. It's one of those foods that doesn't really have a flavor, it just has a texture. So we're gonna have to add a marinade before we bake it. All right, that looks good. We are going to just cover it up with your towel and then put something heavy on it. What I like to use is a pan or a cutting board. I'll use a pan today, and then just anything heavy. So that's pretty heavy. I'm gonna leave that for at least 20 minutes. While the tofu is pressing, we're gonna make the marinade we're gonna bake it in. The recipe that I have been using really regularly, about once a week for the last couple of years, is by Terry Hope Romero in a book called Vegan Eats World. We're gonna do the savory baked tofu. This particular tofu, you can put it with anything, and that's why I make it all the time. I'm gonna show you what to do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna preheat my oven to 425 degrees. Now that that's done, we're gonna make our marinade. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, and then you're gonna also do 2 tablespoons of canola or vegetable oil. You could use a different kind of oil, that would be fine if you wanted to use grapeseed oil or coconut oil or something, I don't think it would matter. This also obviously doesn't have to be very exact. The next thing is 1 tablespoon of agave or maple syrup. You could also use honey. Because this is a vegan cookbook, it doesn't use honey. I have some agave, I'm gonna use that. Agave is a plant-based honey replacement. Okay. And then 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. I do recommend using fresh pressed lemon juice. And then we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. I like a lot of garlic, so I'm gonna add a little extra. And 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Just depends how spicy you like things. You could add more, you could add none. That's it. The next thing I'm gonna do is just mix it up together. And we're gonna wait for the tofu to finish pressing. And we'll put it in here. It has been a little over 20 minutes, and I'm going to show you what the tofu looks like pressed. So it soaks the towel through, and then it will look kind of flat, and we're gonna put it in our marinade. You wanna kind of get both sides going. And we'll go in the oven for 20 minutes at 425. At that time, you're gonna take it out, just in the middle rack. You're gonna take it out, flip each piece, and then 20 more minutes. The next thing we're gonna do is make our stir fry sauce. It has 1/2 cup of vegetable broth, 1/2 cup of soy sauce, then we're going to add a sweetener. I'm gonna use a tablespoon of maple syrup. You could use honey, agave, or sugar, whatever you have. A tablespoon of olive oil. A tablespoon of ginger, you can use fresh ginger or you can use powdered ginger. I have some powdered ginger, so that's what I'm gonna use today. A tablespoon of cornstarch. Cornstarch helps the sauce thicken up when you heat it up, so it's important you have to use it in your sauce. That is a vital ingredient. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of rice vinegar. You can find it in the Asian food section of the grocery store. Pretty inexpensive and used for a lot of Asian dishes. And then it's optional, but a half teaspoon of sesame oil. If you have it, you do not have to use this. Let's flip the tofu. And back in the oven for 20 more. Once you've flipped your tofu, you have about 20 minutes until it's done. That is when you want to start making your rice and your vegetable stir fry. For the rice, I use basmati rice. I like the texture of it, and it's light and fluffy. It does cost a little more, but if you have texture sensitivity to rice, I recommend it. It turns out really well every time. So you want to use a cup of rice and then a cup and a half of water, just right in the pot. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt. Turn it up on high heat, and you're going to bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you're going to cover it, turn it to low, and set your timer for 12 minutes. Once the timer goes off, leave the lid on, set it on the back burner for 5 more minutes, and then your rice will be perfectly cooked. Right, let's stir fry some veggies. If you want a larger pan, if you have a wok, you can definitely use it. I'm going to use olive oil. You could use vegetable oil or canola oil. That would be fine. You want to get that heated up in your pan. Pretty high heat, I would say. And then we're going to add onions and garlic. So I already have chopped my onions and minced some garlic. I have, I don't know, about a half of a red onion here. And then we're gonna let this heat up and saute for 3 to 5 minutes. Then we're gonna start adding our vegetables to cook them. Today what I had in my fridge was some broccoli and asparagus. We're gonna add that. And some carrots and red peppers. We eat with our eyes, right? So if you have some colorful veggies in the fridge, it's a great thing to add into a stir fry. We're gonna let this cook down on medium heat for another 7 minutes or so. All right, let's add these other veggies. All right. So now we have our sauce from earlier. Add it in. And let that warm up. Okay, tofu's done. We are going to cut it into smaller pieces and add it right into the stir fry. We are on low heat. We have all of our ingredients together. The sauce is thick and holding on to the veggies. You will notice that I did not stir the rice at all the entire time I cooked it, and then I left it to steam. Please don't stir your rice, it breaks up the grains. You just fluff it with a fork before you serve it, and we are ready for our vegan dinner.